What is up, guys? Del Boy here. So this weekend we have a Crossroads heavyweight fight between Bryant Jennings and Alexander Dimitrenko. Both of these guys kind of carry over from the Klitschko era. Neither one were good enough to win a world title in the Klitschko era. Dimitrenko never even fought for a world title in the Klitschko era. He lost in a eliminator to Eddie Chambers. And obviously Bryant Jennings lost a decision to Vladimir Klitschko. And both guys meet at a crossroads stage in their careers. I really feel the loser of this fight is really going to have a hard time to make another run at the heavyweight title. You know, they're really going to struggle to get themselves a title shot if they lose this fight. Especially Alexander Dimitrenko, given his age. I feel going into this fight, Bryant Jennings is a favourite. I think overall he is the more hungry fighter out of the two, and actually I feel he's a better fighter than Dimitrenko. Dimitrenko is a very big heavyweight. He is listed as 6'7". You know, he's a big guy, he's got long reach, he likes to keep it on the outside with his jab, and he'll look for that right hand behind it. But apart from that, there's really not much else. He's quite passive for a man of his size, doesn't really let his hands go enough. He carries power, but he's just not aggressive enough. His output is not high enough. And he's just not assertive enough, to be quite honest with you. You know, he's an okay boxer, you know, decent fundamentals. He's got okay feet for a big man, but he's really nothing special. We saw in the Joseph Parker fight, he was awful that night. He really went there to lay down. And after that, you know, I really felt his career was over. Obviously, he had earlier career defeats to Kubrat Pulev and Eddie Chambers, and despite him being severely outclassed by Pulev and beaten by Chambers, he at least showed ambition in those fights. You know, in the fight with Joseph Parker, he really laid down, and it was a really disappointing performance. After that, I felt his career was done, but to his credit, he went on to fight an unbeaten Swedish prospect by the name of Adrian Granat. Granat was expected to win that fight, but Dimitrenko pulled out a very good knockout victory to win that fight, and it breathed some fresh life into Dimitrenko's career, and he remained a fringe contender by beating Granat. Because if he were to lose that fight, you know, he would have really become a high-level journeyman and a guy who was there to pad prospects' sort of resumes on the way up. But by winning that fight, he remained a fringe contender, and it earned him this Bryant Jennings fight. If he were to win this fight, you know, really becomes a contender again. So, you know, there's really something to fight for Dimitrenko in this fight. And likewise for Bryant Jennings, since those back-to-back defeats to Vladimir Klitschko and Luis Ortiz, he has been on the comeback trail. He fought 3 low-level guys in Daniel Marst, Don Hainsworth and Akor Muralimov. He won all of those fights by knockout. After those 3 fights he fought in April 2018, he fought Joey Daweko. Joey Daweko is a high-level journeyman. You know, he's quite a skilled guy for a journeyman. He's hard to hit clean. He's slick, he's awkward. Bryant Jennings won that fight by a unanimous decision. And now he goes into a fight with Dimitrenko, which is his highest step up since his comeback. So I think it's a good bit of matchmaking for him. Also, Dimitrenko is ranked in the IBF, where Bryant Jennings is not. So, you know, it's another way for Bryant Jennings to get into another one of the rankings. Jennings is already in the WBO rankings, but he's not in the IBF, WBA or WBC. So by beating Dimitrenko, he then enters the IBF rankings. And like I said, I just think it's a slight step up from the competition Bryant Jennings has been fighting so far. Stylistically, I think it's a decent fight. Bryant Jennings is quite a well-skilled heavyweight. He's quite well-rounded for a heavyweight. You know, he can fight up close. He's got nice hand speed. He's a good body puncher, good combination puncher. I think he's best up close and in the mid-range. But Bryant Jennings has long arms. He can also box on the outside. Whereas we all know Dimitrenko's a guy who likes to keep it long. So I think it's going to gel quite well. I think you're going to see Dimitrenko trying to keep Jennings at bay with his jab. He's going to be moving, looking for that right hand down the pipe, trying to time Jennings coming in. I think Jennings is going to be being a bit more aggressive in this fight, keeping a nice tight high guard, trying to walk Dimitrenko down and try and work that body and break him down. I think that's how the fight's going to go. Overall, I feel that, you know, Jennings has a bit more to offer. I feel he's more hungry, and I think he'll eventually get to Alexander Dimitrenko. Whether he stops him or not, I'm not sure. I think he has the potential to. It depends what mood Dimitrenko's in. If Dimitrenko wants to win the fight, it could be a bit tricky. But if Dimitrenko is ready to lay down and he's just there for a payday, then Jennings could easily stop him, because of the pressure, because of the pace that he'll set on him. Dimitrenko might look for a way out. Hope that's not the case. But, Jennings does maintain quite a good work rate, and he does force a high pace on you. So, Jennings could always make Dimitrenko quit, or he could stop him. It's always a possibility. It just depends what Dimitrenko shows up, and it's kind of hard to tell what version is going to show up, to be honest with you, because like I said, against Joseph Parker, it was a pitiful effort. It really was. But against Granat, he really did show up, and he knocked Granat out. So it's hard to tell what version is going to turn up. I'm hoping the best version turns up, so we get a decent fight. But even if the best version turns up, I feel that Jennings, he's fresher, he's a better fighter, he's more skilled, and I think he wants it more. So I'm going to go with the Jennings win. Whether it's points or knockout, I'm not really sure. But I'm pretty confident Bryant Jennings is going to win this fight. And I think it's a good bit of matchmaking for Bryant Jennings also. He's been sort of gradually raising the levels of competition. He had 3 journeymen, then he fought Joey Dueco, who's an okay fighter, and now he's fighting Dimitrenko. He's gradually raising the levels in competition. He's fighting regularly. I think this is good for Bryant Jennings. I'm a fan of Bryant Jennings. I think he's a good fighter. I don't think he's ever going to be a heavyweight champion, but if you match him right, I think he could be involved in some really good fights. If you put Bryant Jennings in there with the likes of Dillian White or Derek Chisora, guys like that, I think you'll get some really good fights. But I'm going to go with a Bryant Jennings win. What do you guys think? Peace.